CJI 2 is here. I will be facing the big, the bold, and the beautiful Gable Steveson. The black too, the 4Bs. We're gonna answer the question, what's better? Wrestling, jiu-jitsu. What's gayer? What's more dominant? What is a better grappling art? And I'll be facing Gable Steveson in an effort to prove once and for all that wrestling is the weakest and the most feminine of all the combat sports. It gets so much credit in the UFC. Look at all our champions. Look at all your champions that don't finish anyone. It's boring. We want finishes. That's what the game's about. Wrestling doesn't bring many of them. Actually, in the sport of wrestling, you can't have a finish. Wrestling is a sport that can literally be defeated by sitting down. Just sitting on the ground, gone. All their moves are gone. Every technique they have disappears the second someone's butt touches the floor. Sheer confusion overwhelms them. Imagine preparing, just bear with me for a minute. Imagine preparing your whole life for grappling, only to have no answer to a guy that sits down. You're like, coach, what now? Imagine also for a minute that you spent your entire life preparing to take a guy down. But then when you get in there, you go, oh, fuck, what do I do now? You're like a dog chasing a car. You wouldn't know what to do with it if you got it. Wrestlers consistently attack us for being gay. They say, look at this guy, poor guy. Look at this guy sit on his ass and scoot on the ground. And then these same macho, masculine wrestlers literally go out, and I shit you not, they sneak into their little leotard, they lace up their wrestling boots, and they put their ear guards on to protect their ears. And then they fight tooth and nail to see who can be on top of the other man for longer. But again, I don't want to linger too much on the leotard thing, even though it's a fascinating thing, but many people don't understand the origin story of the leotard in wrestling. They don't understand. They don't understand its true meaning. It is not simply a piece of cloth. It is the answer to the question, how do we keep straight men out of our sport? Straight men and men with little dicks. So, sorry, white men and Asian men, we don't do too good in wrestling. We don't look too good in leotards. But again, the act of sitting down, the act that is so often criticized by these wrestlers, these prideful takedown artists, is the same move they're so scared of. They take one look at it and they go, how do I engage it? It's so dangerous being between another man's legs. Or they might just turn and run and the referee has to grab them and go, fuck, hey, get back in there, attack, or we'll give you a stalling penalty. ADCC, may it rest in peace, they called these wrestlers and they said, hey, come, do our tournament. We want an event where we have all types of grapplers in there. Wrestlers said, whoa. Will there be any of that guard pulling shit? That's too much. That's too heavy for us. ADCC said, only in the last half of the match. They're free to sit down at the start, but after 5 minutes, they can't sit down. And the wrestlers participated. And obviously there was a lot of therapy compensated out to these wrestlers who had to overcome such a fucking inner demon to participate in this event. Speaking of strange things in the sport, can we talk about the Foxcatcher Ranch incident where a bunch of straight wrestlers lived with a rich old man to fulfill their wrestling dreams at his expense while simultaneously fulfilling an elderly man's homoerotic fetish for wrestling and young athletes? Something like this is unparalleled in the sport of jiu-jitsu. I, for one, don't stand for this type of behavior. Would never utilize this to finance anything in the sport of jiu-jitsu. I want you to know that CJI is financed by a much, much younger man. When I watch a wrestling match, honestly, it's basically like watching lesbians have sex. There's a ton of foreplay, but there's really no meaningful finish. No one taps out, time simply expires. To the wrestlers out there Googling the definition of foreplay, don't be alarmed. You're as perplexed as my exes who repeatedly had to explain this foreign concept to me too. No shame in that. In wrestling, there really is a lot of posturing, a lot of eye contact, a lot of repentant prayers, yet no penetration that leads to any form of meaningful finish. Penetration step, takedown, no meaningful finish. No one quits, which is really reminiscent of many of my past sexual conquests, sadly. The cruelest thing about the sport of wrestling is one path to victory is a tech fall. It is winning by a margin of 11 points or greater. The cruel part of this, of course, is that the average wrestler still uses his fingers to count and has never met that enigmatic number of 11. That is a tragedy, actually. These are scholarship athletes and they should be taken seriously for their intellectual abilities. So I want to finish on this. Despite everything I've just said, I'm a big fan of wrestling. Wrestling is incredibly inclusionary, as is jiu-jitsu. People look at jiu-jitsu and they go, wow, a bunch of dudes with autism. We're disproportionately accused of having autism. Wrestlers, disproportionately accused of having one extra chromosome. And that really is what makes it difficult to differentiate between the Special Olympics and the regular Olympics. Those athletes, you cannot tell them apart. And that's the beauty of it, because everyone, including a person like me, looks at Special Olympic level wrestling and goes, if only I was brave enough to wear a leotard, that could be me out there. That could be me chewing down an Olympic gold medal, a real gold medal, and not just hanging on to some plastic, two for the record, ADCC medals, and trying to bite into just plastic, of which I did lose both of those medals. Don't know where they went. Lastly, one other thing to pat them on the back about: wrestling is a very progressive sport, so it should come as no surprise that some of the top wrestling schools reside in states like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Iowa. Nothing encourages civic participation in keeping abortion legal, quite like an overabundance of wrestlers in your city. And for that, and for the cities that legalize abortion, we thank you. You keep tipping the scales in those state elections, and we thank you for that, boys. My hat goes out to you.